Good morning, dear children. We are on the last topic of the chapter number 1 of civics, broader meaning of democracy. So, in this chapter, children, we have considered the meaning of democracy in limited and descriptive sense, and we have understood democracy as a form of government. How can it work? So, this way of defining democracy is going to help us to identify a clear set of features that a democratic country must have. The most common form that the government takes in our times is that of representative democracy. It should be a representative democracy. The representative should be elected by the people of the country, and you have already read about this in the previous classes also. In the countries we call democracy, all the people do not rule. Everybody cannot rule. Just a majority of people is allowed to take decisions on the behalf of all people. Even that majority does not rule directly. The majority of people rule through their elective representatives. So this become necessary because modern democracies involve such a large number of people that it is physically impossible for them to sit together and take a collective decision. So if you take the example of your own country, it has a very big population. So how can you say that each and every citizen should go to parliament and there they are going to discuss? Fine, so we have our representatives. Fine, they are going to decide on our, even if they could, the citizen does not have the time, the desire, or the skills to take part in all the decisions. If in case we say that okay fine, everybody is going in the parliament and taking decision, but it's not possible that everybody will go there, everybody has a time to do so, everybody is interested in all these things. So there we have representatives who are going to work on our basis. Fine, this gives us a clear but minimum understanding of democracy. This clarity helps us to distinguish democracies from non-democracies, but it does not allow us to distinguish between a democracy and a good democracy. Fine, so if we take the ideal seriously, whatever we have seen, no country in the world is a democracy. If you say that if you take our country only that it's a democracy, you can't say that. Fine, somewhere something is missing. Fine, yet an understanding of a democracy is an ideal reminds us why we value democracy. Why we value it? Because it enables us to judge an existing democracy and identify its weaknesses. We just judge the democracy, what sort of government we have, and we judge the weaknesses. It helps us to distinguish between a minimal democracy and a good democracy. We distinguish between both. In this book, we do not deal much with the expanded notion of democracy. Our focus here with some core institutional features and democracy as a form of government. So we have seen some features of democracy here. Fine, next year you are going to read it more. Now, no country is a perfect democracy. I am discussing, and the features of democracy that we discuss in this chapter provide only the minimum conditions of a democracy. That these are the minimum conditions. These conditions should be kept in mind. That does not make it an ideal democracy. Every democracy has to try to realize the ideals of democratic decision making. This cannot be achieved once and for all. It requires continuous efforts to stave and strengthen the democratic form and the decision making. Fine. What do we do as citizens? We just make a difference to making our country more and less democratic. Fine. We have to strengthen and weakness. We have to just check out the strength and weaknesses of our democracy. The fate of a country depends not just on what rulers are doing so, but it is mainly as citizens what we are doing. So this is what that distinguishes democracy from other governments. Other form of government like monarchy, dictatorship, one party rule, they do not require all citizens to take part in politics. In fact, Most non democratic governments would like citizens not to take part in politics. But in democracy, it depends on active political participation by all the citizens. That is why a study of democracy must focus on the democratic politics, children. So, this was all about the chapter. Thank you and have a nice day.